So let's talk about the Oilers' perspective of it. When you break down that game between the wonky start from Mike Smith, 2 goals in the first 51 seconds, sloppy neutral zone play, ineffective play from the injured Leon Draisaitl, the inability to handle that forecheck, and a team that really took some runs and liberties at Connor McDavid. What is the most concerning part of game one for you from the Oilers' perspective?
Well, it's the 5-on-5 play more than anything else. You can take the emotional aspect of it. The Oilers just simply weren't good enough in that area of the game. And it's been like that all season against Calgary. I mean, who could forget March 26th, the Oilers got drubbed 9-5 by Calgary, and all 9 of those goals were 5-on-5. Well, saw more of that last night. So that's area number one. I actually would have kept Mike Smith in the net. I don't think changing goalies changes momentum at all. I know McDavid scored right after to make it 3-1 after Mike Smith was pulled, but you could see just how out of sync the Edmonton Oilers looked with Mikko Koskinen in net. Koskinen doesn't know where to put the puck to get it to his D. The breakout's ineffective. I just thought that they looked lost with him, and I would have stuck with Smith. And I think that the Oilers, frankly, got a little lucky that Markstrom was off his game. I didn't like 3 of the goals on Markstrom in the second period. Neither of Hyman's goals I thought were any good. So I thought that this game looked better for the Oilers than it really was in terms of the scoreboard. And they're going to have to push back. And Evander Kane is going to have an answer for Matthew Tkachuk, because you touched on Tkachuk. Tkachuk has a natural foil in Evander Kane in this series. He didn't have that against Dallas. Jamie Benn's not going to engage Matthew Tkachuk the same way. Tkachuk had the upper hand on Kane all night long, and Kane is a huge part of that offense. And you touched on Draisaitl. Draisaitl on the wing with McDavid. Okay, that's a super line. Draisaitl's good in a straight line, but right now he's not playing center. He may take faceoffs. That puts extra stress on McDavid. That doesn't let the Oilers use their entire forward core. And that down the stretch was one of their greatest strengths in their Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. You can take the comeback, you can take the score out of the mix. It was way better for the Oilers on paper than it really appeared. Complete and total domination is what it was for the Calgary Flames, particularly at even strength. The Oilers had no answer for that forecheck. They're in their own end, and you look at the Oilers all season long, they've really struggled against teams that forecheck and check well, and that was certainly problematic in game one. It's funny, you mentioned the goaltending. I was wondering if at a certain point they would have considered putting Mike Smith back in. What a wild night for the netminders.
Yeah, it was. I don't like putting a goalie back in ever. I mean, once you're out to me. And I didn't even touch on the power play for Edmonton. 3 shots on it. Come on. You're the Edmonton Oilers. Even if your game's not going well, you got to be able to bank on your power play doing something. Again, Calgary's hard pressure, especially on the puck, on loose pucks in their zone, on the kill, is what changed it. Calgary just wanted it more last night.
Yeah, and the funny thing about all that is Connor McDavid was still a force in that game, a 4-point night,
exactly.
and is someone that played almost 26 minutes a night, nearly 3 minutes more than the next closest skater on either side. Insane. He just doesn't really have a lot of help, and that's not a new story if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan.